Hardy's bold new Rise and Shine coffee is free with the purchase of any menu item at regular price. It's a brand new coffee, hence this brand new radio ad. Hardy's 'cause it tastes better. Offer valid for a limited time at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Limit 1 per customer per visit. Not valid with any other offer or discount.
Blog Talk Radio.
Alternative facts.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. At 12:07 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, numerous unidentified objects of unknown intent and unknown origin were detected at high altitudes over multiple locations of Earth's outer space by the National Radio Astronomy Observatory, and these objects are presumed to be some form of controlled aircraft. It is not known if more of these aircraft will arrive, or if they will attempt entering Earth's atmosphere. United States citizens are encouraged to monitor local media outlets, as more updates will follow as information becomes available. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. Attacks by the undead have been reported in several states across the country. The dead are rising from their graves and are attacking the human race. At this time, it is expected that more attacks of this nature will occur in several other states in the next few hours. The intent behind their attack is unknown at this time. He has been observed that a bite or exchange of fluids is a method of transmission. This is an extremely dangerous situation if they crave the taste of human flesh. It is not known whether this event will last for hours, days, or even longer. Stay calm, as authorities have been dispatched to deal with these creatures. An all-clear siren will be sounded when this situation is under control. Pacific Standard Time, nor is detected a long-range nuclear missile launcher. This missile is believed to be headed in the direction of all residents within a 400-mile radius of this area should seek a fallout shelter immediately.
Welcome to Within the Chaos with your host, Rodney the Viking Shortridge, co-host, Melinda the Raven Jackson. Want to give a big old shout out to the Facebook paranormal groups that allow us to post our shows on their pages and helping us to get the word out about all of our guests. Also, a shout out to the Connor sisters. Hats off to Misty and Ashley. They are the founders of SOS Sisters of Salem Paranormal Research Society and host of their podcast, Paranormal Party. You can find them on Facebook under Paranormal Party. If anyone would like to speak to Black Diamond Paranormal Society, VidiSpace, to discuss your paranormal questions or issues, go to our website at blackdiamondps.org or email blackdiamondps@yahoo.com. As always, our services are free.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. You can listen in by calling 516-387-1922, or you can go to the Vibe Radio Network website at talkradio.com/Vibe Radio Network. For deep within the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for listening to Within the Chaos. My name is Rodney Shortridge, and I'll be your host tonight, along with my beautiful raven, Melinda Jackson. First off, I'd like to give a shout out to my cousins up in Ohio, Jennifer and Joe Shortridge of 222 Paranormal. If you get a chance, check out their talk show. You can find them on Facebook under 222 Paranormal. What are you giggling for? Oh, did you? Okay. Well, tonight our special guest is one of our amazing friends, the Sugar Daddy of Richmond. Is that what you was giggling about? Dennis Estlock. Dennis is a medium, remote viewer, and a paranormal investigator. Now you get me fucked up, man.
Sorry.
I was going to say, well, how was your week? But can you get it out now?
I'm good.
I'm serious, everybody. I'm sitting here and I'm getting ready to read my shit, and all of a sudden I hear, I'm like, what the fuck is she giggling about? And she's like, I just read her first line, and I'm like, oh, the Sugar Daddy vlog? Well, enough of my air bullshit. Let's get him on here. We got tons of questions. He's a good guy. Good guy. Hey, Dennis, how you doing, man? You on the show? You made it.
Hello, darling.
Oh, nice to see you. It's been a long time. Everybody's like, I ain't paying for this shit.
Hell, if you're going to introduce me as a sugar daddy, I'm going to start this off with a good hello, darling.
There you go. Hello, darling.
Look, I said hello, darling, and I said hello, darling, and all three of my dogs perked up and went, what?
What?
Now they're prancing like Daddy wants to talk to me.
They're like, damn
That's
it, I
something
hate
wrong
when
with
you
them
do.
dogs. There's something jacked up with them dogs when I say hello, darling, and the dogs perk up and go, what? Oh, Dad wants to talk to me. No, I'm telling you, I wasn't talking to you.
You ain't got
Good
no dog.
everybody.
He's just making that up. Well, how you doing, Dennis? How you doing tonight, man?
Well, I'm vertical and breathing, and ain't nobody chasing me around with a fucking red light going, can you talk to us? Instead, they just put me on the phone. So I think everything's all right.
That's good. Well, for all the people that, of the listeners we have here that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and, what got you into the paranormal?
Well, I am, apparently, and unbeknownst to me, I am the Sugar Daddy of Richmond. I don't know where the hell that came from, but what the hell y'all doing over there in the foothills of the Appalachians anyway, coming up with things like that?
Hey, well,
yeah, I knew I should. All right, now look,
I've been coming up with names for people when they're guests when they're coming on the show, and they kind of like it. One guy talked about the whole goddamn show.
Well, I'm going to preface this show for some of them have seen my post that I'm coming on and I'm going to be jacked up on Deadly Grounds coffee. They don't pay me for this shit, but I do drink Deadly Grounds coffee and good Lord Almighty, I'm 3/4 of the way through a pot now. I got a 20-ounce coffee cup and I'm on my third cup. So if I get to rambling, just tell me slow down.
I'll just back and enjoy the ride, and while me and Melinda enjoy our cold Coors Light.
See, y'all buckle up. It's going to be a rough ride. I can warn you now. But
Coors is paying me for that.
Coors is paying you for that?
Hell yeah.
Now, see, for years and years while I was a drinker.
They just don't know it yet.
Oh, okay. See, for years and years while I was drinking, I don't drink no more, but Bud Light was my beer of choice. And my wife told me I had to slow down because we were in a severe drought and the James River was running low. And we figured out that it's because apparently they were drawing so much water to make all the beer that I drank that it was, all right, well, we'll stop. And then realization set in when they sent me a letter and told me that I was a member of the 1,000-gallon club, and they were thinking about building a processing and brewery nearby because it would be cheaper than all the transportation costs to ship the shit in.
Yep. Just hook a hose up to you straight from the factory.
Well, hell yeah. So here I am, and kudos, pat on my back to me, 2 years sober.
All right, that's something to be proud of. Cause I used to drink like a motherfucker back in the day, but now I just sip. I'm not a big drinker. Now Melinda, on the other hand, she's not the mine. Her and Scott.
Thanks.
She's the Lushan.
Yeah, her and
She's
Scott.
the Lush in the family.
Yeah, her and Scott. Yeah, they're the Lush.
Can't believe you
Well, I
put
mean, somebody's got to keep them breweries in.
It's
But
all
see, I
good.
would think you guys wouldn't be drinking Coors Light, being that you're in the Appalachian area. I would think you wouldn't be supporting the Rockies. You'd be supporting a local brewery that pulls from the Appalachians.
Well,
But
I do, and I have one of the good motherfuckers since Moonshiners came on. They think they all got to have $100 for a damn half a pint.
Yeah, well, nothing good is cheap, man. Good ain't cheap, and cheap ain't good.
Yeah, but Moonshiners run it for us. Now everybody thinks they can get them, $200 gallon jugs of White Lightning.
Yeah, well.
I just go out there and just drink from the spring and then take it with some vodka, and it's just the same.
See, stick with cheap shit, man. You're not going to know any difference in the morning when your head's pounding and you're putting on the sunglasses.
That's exactly right.
Come morning time, you won't remember whether you had the good shit or the cheap shit. So save you some money. Spend that little bit of extra money instead on the high quality, high test stuff. Spend that extra money on better sunglasses. You'll thank me for that tip in later years.
I got about 6 pairs of them running around here. I can shade up any moment.
See, there you go. All right, so let's see. You asked me to tell about myself, what got me into the paranormal, and et cetera, et cetera. So, like you said in the introduction, and for those that don't know or tuning in just at the wrong moment, missed the introduction, my name is Dennis Estlock. I'm a medium, remote viewer, nearly 20 years as a paranormal investigator. I got into the paranormal, which, by the way, in your opening, you gave shout out to your cousins up in Ohio. I'm going to give shout out to my cousins up in Ohio, one of which I'm hoping is listening, and he was with me the first time I ever did an EVP session. So, Ron, I hope you feel better. He just suffered a stroke last week, got out of the hospital yesterday. I love you, brother. I hope you're doing better. But about the age of 10, roughly, which I've got 2 cousins, Fred and Ron. Fred is 3 months older than me. Ron's 2 years older than me. And we had heard somewhere that if you put a tape recorder in a cemetery, you can hear ghosts, spirits talk. 10, 12 years old, we're like, man, that sounds cool. Let's go do that. So I took my big old, the shoulder radio, we used to call them a ghetto blaster. We towed it out to the cemetery and set it up on a headstone and hit record. Went and sat a few hundred feet away from it and shot the shit, whatever. Then a little while later, we went back and got it, and we actually captured somebody whistling a tune. Now, we knew nobody was near the recorder, but here we've got this whistling on recorder. We don't recognize the tune, but their daddy was a musician. So we played it for him, and we said, do you recognize this? And he said, yeah, it was a rather popular tune from like the 1940s or so. Wow. That was intense. Well, that night we're sitting around shooting the shit, and this was our first time that we encountered paranormal in the EVP recording, of course. But we also encountered kind of a strange moment. I don't know if you want to call it paranormal, deja vu, prophesying, I don't know, but we were having a conversation talking about spirit and ghosts and etc. And I made the comment that now on the corner 2 houses over from them was a friend of ours named Lloyd and his family. And they had a modular home set right up on the corner, double wide, whatever. And I said, you know, what if a car comes through their house tonight and takes them out? Would we be able to go over and record them later? You know, would they still be here, or do they pass on, or whatever? Well, you know, we end up just shooting the shit for God knows how long, you know, typical kids. We go to sleep. We wake up in the morning, and there's fire trucks and everything else on the corner. A damn car had driven through Lloyd's house.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell? Did we jinx them, or, you know, and I had forgotten that part, but I was talking to my cousin Ron today, and he reminded me of that. I'm like, holy shit, dude, that was that same night. So, you know, from the age of about 10, 11, 12 years old, there was that interest in paranormal. But what got me into and realizing that maybe I had a bit of mediumship, when I was 7, my granddaddy passed away. And he came to me and told me goodbye, and he loved me, and he'd see me later. Now, I had a brother that was 4 years older than me that slept on bottom bunk, and I slept on top bunk. And I remember my grandfather looking me eye to eye on the top bunk, just as solid as, you know, anybody present. And I remember him looking me eye to eye, telling me goodbye, he loved me, and he'd see me later. And I told him that, oh, well, okay, Granddaddy, I'll see you in the morning. I didn't know you guys came up, but good night. Well, sometime later, Mom came in and woke my brother and I up, told us we had to get up and get ready to go. And, you know, both of us were like, wait, what? It's the middle of the night. And I asked, is this because Granddaddy went away? I didn't even know they came up. When did they come? And Mom looked at me real weird and asked me what I was talking about. And I said, well, Granddaddy was here a little bit ago and told me goodbye and he loved me. When did they come up? What I didn't know was he had suffered a massive heart attack earlier that evening and passed away. So that was my first encounter with spirit. I had other small, odd things that, you know, they didn't really stand out to me all that much, and I kind of pushed them aside because they were just those oddities. But when I was 16, like I said, I had a brother 4 years older than me. And right about noon, I was walking up to the corner grocery. I was going to go buy a pack of cigarettes. And I distinctly remember hearing my brother's voice and feeling his presence around me. And he told me goodbye. He told me he loved me and told me he would always have my back. Now, my brother truly was my guardian, to the point that in junior high, while I was being bullied, he skipped school one day and came to my junior high and hid in the alleyway across the street and waited for my bully to come after me. And when my bully caught up to me, my brother stepped out from behind a building in the alleyway and cold-cocked my bully and told him point blank, you ever give my brother a hard time again, I'm coming back for your ass. So he truly was my bodyguard, my guardian. But like I said, about noon, I felt his presence. I heard his voice, distinctly heard his voice. Told me goodbye, he loved me, and he'd see me later. He would always have my back. I'm like, what the hell? You know, this was just a really weird thing. I went on up, got my cigarettes, come home. 9 o'clock that night, the police knocked on our door to let us know that they'd discovered my brother's body. He had hanged himself early that day. The coroner's report showed time of death between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. And dead center at 11:58, roughly, is when I had my encounter that my brother had come to me and told me goodbye. So I knew then that this is something real. I can hear spirit. Now here comes the question, though. Most people that you talk to, and I'm sure you've interviewed, at least a couple of dozen, how many of us have had a loved one pass that within the first week or so, they've experienced that loved one coming to them and telling them goodbye or telling them that they love them or, something. But it's usually within that first week. Now, I did podcast Full Spectrum Radio for about 5 years, and we interviewed a lot of people, and most of their stories were that within that first week they would hear from a loved one. So what if on that side there's maybe a forbearance or there's that limited time slot that they can come back and talk to us freely. And then it becomes like I'm sure most everybody, and I guarantee you've seen the show with Patrick Swayze and, Ghost. I can't think of her name offhand. Yeah, Ghost. I'm trying to think of, Whoopi Goldberg. And when Patrick Swayze's trying his best to talk to his wife and just can't figure out how. What if there is that time frame right after passing within that first week or so that they're able to come back and talk to us, and then after that time frame is closed and they have to only go to those that have opened up that doorway to the other side?
That's a good point.
I mean, all of us can capture an EVP. Pretty much anybody that's ever investigated has captured an EVP. Those are still, everybody still has, your skeptics are still going, well, yeah, but that doesn't mean you talk to the other side. You got something on a recorder that sounds like scratchy, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Well, I've got an EVP. If your listeners want to go to soundcloud.com, search my name, you'll find 2 EVPs on there. One's called Do It Fucker. You like that one?
Oh, yeah. I love them.
The other one, the other one's called Bible Steel Rock Hall. Now, both of these recordings come from the same time frame off 2 different recorders. I'm carrying one. Sandy White, dear friend of mine from Pennsylvania, is carrying the other, and we're at Henricus Historical Park. Now, the reason that I named one Do It Fucker, that's exactly what's captured on the recorder. She asked, we were in Rock Hall at Henricus Park, which is built to be like Reverend Whitaker's home. Now, Reverend Whitaker was the Reverend for the city of Henricus, which was established in 1611. It is the second successful settlement in the New World behind Jamestown in 1607. So I'm explaining to Reverend Whitaker that I'm going to steal his Bible and I'm going to go read from it in the church. And Sandy says, if you've got a problem with that, get up in his face and tell him what you think of him touching and holding your Bible. And you hear a male voice in the background says, do it, fucker. Phenomenal. I love when I get cussed at. It just, it makes the little cockles of my heart sing with joy. But, yeah, see, it took you a moment. Jesus Christ, are you even paying attention to this?
Yeah, I'm paying attention. That's just what I was like, cockles. He said cockles.
So, as we go on, you hear Sandy cough, and she says, that was me. And then you hear a male clear his throat. And then, now John Harris, who is RBA Paranormal, and is also one of my Commonwealth researchers of the paranormal team members, is actually my audio-video tech guy. He played this thing through an awesome piece of software. Most of us use freeware Audacity. Well, he uses Adobe Audition. And he was able to isolate what sounds like 3 or 4 voices all singing at one time what we believe to be Negro spirituals. Well, if there's a limited window of time frame for us to hear from the dead, and it's in that first 7 days, then how can we capture an EVP of what we believe to be from like the 1860s? It sounds like it's about the slavery period, and we think there may have been slave quarters on that exact parcel of land during Civil War, pre-Civil War era. Is there just that little rip in the fabric of time that lets them come back and talk to us? We've all captured intelligent EVPs. I've been called a fucker more times than I care to think about. And not just by the living. So, I mean, there's so much to the paranormal that just boggles my mind. And, I mean, I've got hundreds of investigations behind me now. And I still walk away from most investigations with more questions than answers. And frankly, I think if you're doing it right, that's the way it should be. If you walk away from an investigation and you think you have all the answers and you know all there is to it, you've done something wrong, because you obviously didn't get enough answers to create more questions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even the simple EVP that I got of Do It Fucker makes me wonder, who was that? Why the animosity? Why is he there? And why haven't I ever heard from him again? I've never captured that same exact voice on EVP.
Wow. Well, you are a medium, and can you explain to everybody what a medium is? And, you know, and what set you on the path to become a medium? I mean, was it something that you was born with, or something that you had to develop? And you know, when did your abilities actually start showing up in life? I know you kind of touched on it, but can you go a little more in depth into that?
Sure. All right, so like I said, when I was 7, my grandfather came to me. 16, my brother came to me. For whatever reason, like at one point in time, I joined volunteer fire department, and I was going after my EMT and paramedic certifications. I was working towards my extrication certifications, and just oddly, I kept ending up at crash sites that were fatalities. And this was not on service calls. This was just in my own time. So I walked away from the volunteer fire department and ambulance and everything, because I'm already at these locations, but I can feel the energy coming from these people, and I can hear them without them actually speaking. You know what I mean? Prime example. I was headed out to the firehouse one night, and I was going to go rebuild some pumps, and I watched a car coming from my right, would have shot across the crossroads ahead of me. And when he hit that crossroads intersection, he lost control of the vehicle, tumbled, crashed, rolled, barrel rolled. The young man driving ended up under the vehicle. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. It threw him out of the car. The car landed on its roof and landed on him. There is no way that I could have heard this young man yelling audibly, physically, because he's crushed under this car. This was a 72 Chevelle SS. Beautiful car, by the way, right up until that moment. But he is crushed under it, but I could hear him. And I could hear him telling me, Dad is going to be so upset with me. Dad's going to be pissed. I've crashed his car. And I'm wondering, am I losing my mind? But it was one of those instances where I kind of pushed it aside because I knew what I had to do. I had to try to help this young man and his passenger. But I pushed aside what I was hearing, which were the voices of him hollering for help. and distress and so forth. So probably 5-6 years ago, I started, and this is part of why I had to quit drinking. I started hearing voices so regular and so often, I thought I was literally, truly losing my mind. I mean, if you go into a psychotherapist or a therapist, period, and you tell them that you see people that aren't there and you hear voices that nobody else hears, right off the bat, they're going to start thinking schizophrenia. So I was seriously thinking I was losing my mind. I'm constantly hearing people talking to me, but nobody's there. So I literally, truly tried to drink the voices away. I tried to drown those voices so I didn't hear them. It didn't work. What it did was open that door wider and wider until it was nonstop. And then I sought help from a friend of mine who is lifelong, accepted her abilities, known her abilities. Basically my soul sister out in the Chicago area, Tracy Ann. And she told me that, I can help you learn to block these voices out and deal with them. So she actually helped me and taught me how to shield and so forth. So then I could understand and deal with the voices, and I could handle it in a manageable way. But it started me on understanding that, okay, I have this gift, sometimes curse. So I started accepting it. And the more I accepted it, and the more I opened up to it, and the more I accepted that it was real, the more I started to do it. And I think truly with any ability like this, it's like any other task. The more you do it, and the more you accept it, the better you become at it. Now, you'll hear people say that, oh, everybody kind of has that gift. They just have to understand it. I think it might be true. You just have to open up to it, accept it, understand it, and I mean, your brain's a muscle. The more you use it, the more you become capable with it. Scientists are using EKG machines and doing brain scans and everything else, and they realize that there's about 10% of the human brain in use on average. What the hell can the other 90% of the brain do? Well, through EKGs and everything, they were noticing different parts of the brain firing up from normal when a medium was actually doing mediumship. So I think it's just a part of the brain activating that we've requested, I guess. I really don't know, but it kind of makes sense. Mm-hmm. As far as the remote viewing, that was a bit of a fluke. Well, I'm going to give you a good laugh.
Okay.
So I'm sitting at my dining table one night, and I've done a couple of remote views, and I've told people what I pick up about them and so forth. And my wife finally looks at me one night when I get off the phone, and she's like, "You believe half the shit that you say when you talk to people about stuff like this?" I said, "Well, what do you mean?" She's like, "Well, like the one that you just finished with, you told her that, you picked up that somewhere around the age of 10 or 12 that she was molested, and you gave her a name and everything else. Do you realize what you're doing?" And I said, "Yeah, I realize what I'm doing. I'm hearing information from the other side and relaying it back to them to help them understand what they're going through." She's like, "All right, I kind of think you're like out there a little bit right now." I had to laugh. About a week later, she comes home and puts a Post-it note on the table, and I'm sitting there with a laptop open, headphones on, 3 recorders and a video camera going, and I'm reviewing evidence. And I looked at this Post-it note she put down, and it's just a name. And I start hearing him talk to me, and I start chuckling. And I paused everything, took my headphones off, and I said, "All right, what about him?" She's like, "Tell me about him." So I start rambling off all the shit that he's telling me. Where he's from, what his house looked like, how he died, what he was interested in. And finally I looked at her and I said, well, he says he's done talking to me for now. So he seems like a really nice guy, though. So who was he? She's like, you really don't know who you talked to? And I'm like, no. She's like, that's my boss's father. He passed about 6 months ago, and you never talked to him. You've never met him. And I went, well, I know I never met him. But seemed like a really nice guy. How'd I do, by the way, on the information? She's like, I don't know how the hell you did that, but you were dead on with everything. I said, well, cool. He wants me to tell you, by the way, tell her to look in the drawer to the right of the washer dryer, something about necklaces. Huh? I said, just tell her to look. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. He just says, and he's got this funny chuckle. He's got a great laugh. But he says, tell her, look in the drawer. So she messages her. Hey, Dennis said that your dad says to look in the drawer to the right of the washer and dryer. Something about necklaces. Like 2 minutes later, she gets a text back, and it's all in caps. OMFG. How did he know? And I'm like, I don't even know what I know, but that's what I was told to tell her. Well, she had gone on a business trip like nearly a month earlier when she had a bag with necklaces in it that had gone missing. She says there was no reason in the world for it to be in that drawer, but that's where the 5 necklaces were that went missing. And all I can hear is him laughing, going, just let her know I'm checking in.
Damn.
So, I mean, is it a special thing that, you know, only a select handful of people can do? I don't know. I truly don't. I don't want to say that I'm special, I'm gifted, I'm this or I'm that. I just know what I do. And from time to time, it freaks me the hell out. And sometimes it brings a great sense of peace to those that I make a connection for. So, you know, from time to time, it's a gift. From time to time, it's a curse. I had an old lady that I don't know why she kept coming to me, but for about a month straight, she would wake me up in the middle of the night by wiggling my big toe. I'd wake up, and she'd be standing at the foot of my bed, wiggling my big toe. And I couldn't get her to leave me the hell alone. Finally, I said, listen, if you're not going to share a message with me, if you're not going to tell me what you need, you have to leave and you can't come back. I've never seen her since. But she freaked me out because she wouldn't go away.
She liked your toe.
Is that a foot fetish?
Evidently.
Yeah.
Evidently, it was one of the strangest things I've ever encountered, though. I mean, I've had some really strange shit. You know, I don't know. Just one of those things where you kind of have to scratch your head and go, what the hell is the significance of her coming around if she wasn't going to tell me anything?
You got a question for me?
Yes. My first question is, have you ever encountered a demonic presence? And if so, explain it.
Well, I don't know if it's demonic. I don't know truly what it is. But, you know, Rodney has been to a location that I run outside Richmond in Mechanicsville, Virginia, with Ryan C. Jones and myself run this location. It's called the Cabin on 360. Now, the Cabin on 360 has a log cabin, hence the Cabin on 360, and a little brick rancher right next door that has a basement. In that basement is something that we can't explain. It's been violent to some people. It's presented itself to others. It has a different type of energy. When I come in contact with a human spirit or a human energy, I know how my body reacts to that and how my body feels to that. I've also interacted with elemental spirits. This thing, my body reacts totally different. I get a massive headache from it, dead center in the back of my head. But this thing has just qualities that I can't understand. We've had, God, I don't know, probably 4, 5, 6 different mediums leave the building. We've had a couple that literally left that building, got in their car, and drove home, and didn't tell anyone they were leaving. They were just like, we want no parts of what's there. It's not right. Twisted Paranormal Society, Lyle and his team came up and filmed an episode of The Twisted Realm. And while they were in that brick rancher, they asked the question, can you tell us your name? And they got a direct answer back that said, Satan. Now, is it Satan truly, really? Are we supposed to believe that the devil himself is in this little brick rancher in the middle of Podunksville, Mechanicsville, Virginia? No. I just think it's something that, I don't know, maybe it's a, 375th level down little shithead that just likes to cause havoc. But he's been known to negatively interact with people, influence their thoughts. Prime example, and this doesn't sound good for me, but New Year's Eve 2 years ago, we had New Year's Eve gathering out at the cabin. So we've got, a dozen people there. We're all laughing, dancing, having a good time. I got the little antenna up, and we got the TV going with the ball drop in New York, Times Square. Music cranked up. I had been over kind of provoking in the brick rancher. So we're sitting in the log cabin, and I'm watching everybody dance. We're having a good time, and I just started getting angry. I don't even know what I was angry about, but just all of a sudden I start having these mental images of just pull my weapon out and start popping people. I'm like, what the hell? Oh, I went back next door and I went off. I'm yelling at thin air, whatever this little entity is that I believe at this point has influenced me and has tried to get into my mind. And you hear this distinct growl comes back at me on the recorders. Well, Ryan comes in the middle of me going off on this thing. He's like, bro, you all right? I'm like, not happy, man, not happy. And it was at that point that we captured the growl. So I don't know what it is. I don't want to be the boy that cries wolf or cries demon, 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 demon. It's a demon, bro. I don't know. That's about the most evil thing I've encountered. There's all right, so in all the locations that I've done, there have been 2 instances where, that moment of fear when you're investigating and your blood just turns to jello? I've had that twice.
I haven't had that yet. Your blood turns to jello, the asshole slams shut, you couldn't pull a greased string out of it. I've had that twice. See, there you go. So once was at St. Albans Sanatorium. I'm in the crossover tunnel. Now, 9 out of 10, I walk through locations with no flashlight. I let my eyes adjust to the darkness as best I can, and I let my spirit guides guide me the rest of the way. So I'm coming through this crossover tunnel, and I'm going up towards the office area. I'm going to get a cup of coffee. I'm coming from alcohol recovery room to like the office area. So you got this long hallway, pitch black. And all of a sudden I felt like something 15 feet tall and 10 feet wide ran up behind me and just hovered over my shoulders. And instantly my asshole slammed shut. My testes crawled to my belly, seeking refuge. My blood went cold. And it's that moment where you just freeze. And it took me a good 3, 4, 5 seconds just standing there going, what the hell? And then I spun around and I'm like, don't you ever run up on me like that again. I will vanquish your ass to the light. I will banish you. And I felt the energy recede away from me. But it scared the living shit out of me.
which, by the way, before I got a cup of coffee, I went and took a leak because I damn near did it in the crossover tunnel. But the second time was in the brick rancher at the cabin. Again, Ryan was there. I had two people that were going to be, they were like prospective team members with us, Donald and Kim. Love them to death. Great people. I am so glad they came on to CROP, which is the team that I run here, Commonwealth Researchers of the Paranormal. But I'm glad they came on. But they were there that night to hang out with us, just the two of them, Ryan and myself. They're off to one side. Now, Rodney, you've been in the brick rancher. So you know where the bathroom and the bedrooms are off to the left when you walk in the door.
Mm-hmm.
And off to the right is the kitchen door coming from the kitchen to the living room. So you got, 20 feet apart, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
I came up out of the basement, and it's like 9 o'clock, so it's pretty dark outside. There's 3 windows in the front wall of the building, and you get ambient light coming in from that. I hit that doorway from the kitchen to the living room, and I felt that energy just step in front of me, and everything in front of me went black. Scared the shit out of me. I froze for a moment. And then I took a big step back, and I'm like, Ryan, where are you? And Ryan's like, we're over here by the bathroom. Why? And that's when I went off again. I'm like, you better step the fuck back from me. Don't you ever come up on me like that again. And you hear 3 footsteps go across the hardwoods and then dead silence. And Ryan's like, what the hell was that? I don't know, man, but I got to go piss. So, I mean, I don't know that I can honestly say I've ever actually interacted with a true demonic, but I've certainly interacted with things that are just weird.
It sounds like it.
And then, now I don't know, and Steve Dills from Transcend Paranormal just messaged me and reminded me of another one at St. Albans. I don't know if this thing was demonic. I'm damn sure it wasn't human. But I had gone to St. Albans on a different occasion with Transcend, and we're hanging out down in the drunk room, the alcoholics recovery room or whatever it is. And there were like 3 or 4 of us sitting across one wall, and off to our right there are 3 rooms. And it's mostly dark. You got a little bit of ambient light coming in. And we see this thing that's about 1 foot tall and maybe 2 feet long, comes out and around the corner of a doorway from the first room to our right and goes across in front of the other 2 doorways and disappears down the hallway. Steve and I both looked at each other and looked back that way and looked at each other and went, you saw that shit too, right? And then Zach, who was sitting on Steve's left, goes, I saw something over there. And he described what he saw, and Steve and I are both going, yeah, that's what I saw too. So all of that took place in about 5 seconds. And all 3 of us are up and on a flat bolt to go see what the hell just came out of there. But no idea what the hell it was. It was just the craziest thing. And then, hi, Brandon. So here's another one for St. Albans. Gee, I got these messages going off to remind me of shit, too. So Brandon and I were doing a thing there for Vibe. You weren't there that night, Rodney, but so the Vibe Radio Network and Freaking Awesome Paranormal Show, which is Ryan's show, did an event at St. Albans. And they had asked Brandon and I to hang out down in the alcohol recovery room. And they were leading groups through. So, like, the first group comes in, there's like 10, 12 people in the group. And we're supposed to tell them what equipment we've got, what it does, and, investigate with them for a little bit, and then they move them on. So I said, hey, I'm Dennis. They said, hey, I'm Brandon. This is the equipment we got. And I said, the first thing I think we'll do is I'm just going to take a knee right here in the middle of the room, run an EVP session. And I explained what an EVP session is for the noobs that don't know. And I said, all right, we're in alcohol recovery room. And nobody said anything. We didn't hear anything. I ran maybe 3 minutes. On playback, as soon as I said, we're in alcohol recovery room, plain as day, it sounds like somebody leaned into the recorder and goes, fuck you. I'm like, yes. I mean, everybody in the group heard it. So, yeah, some of the crazy shit that I did.
Damn. You got any more for him?
I do.
Okay.
So
I'll try to shut up and just answer questions.
Hey, you're doing
I'm not
a great
good
job.
at that, though.
You're doing a
Makes
great
it
job.
easy as hell, doesn't it? Makes
It does.
easy to be a host. Just listen to the
It does.
dumbass run his mouth.
Hey, no, you ain't no dumbass. Hell, you about the smartest motherfucker I know.
Jesus Christ, then you know some real dumbasses, don't you?
I am down here in the mountains, so yeah. Hey, some banjo picking motherfucker down here, boy. I told
Pedal
him there.
faster. I think I hear banjos. Hey, that reminds me. Oh my God, I'll give you a good story.
Okay.
See, this is why you can't let me load up on coffee first. All right, so I'm going from West Virginia. I'm going over to Gettysburg.
Okay, West Virginia. I thought it was going to be a Tennessee trip, but West Virginia is even better.
Getting good now.
Getting good now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I'm going from West Virginia. I was up in Morgantown at Paracon that Dave Spinks hosted. And I'm going over to Gettysburg. I'm going to go meet Pam and Steve over at the Ghost Exchange. And I'm going to drop some flyers and shit off for the cabin. So I punch into Waze where I'm going, and Waze tells me take this route. All right, so I take that route. Now, I had bought a new truck 3-4 days before going up there. So I'm kicked back with the sunroof open, the back glass open, the windows halfway down, stereo jamming. I ain't paying attention to where Waze is taking me. It runs me across the turnpike and dumps me into Pennsylvania on the turnpike, and then it says take exit such and such. I take exit such and such. There's no fucking toll gate. You drive through a thing, and it says, thanks for using the Pennsylvania Turnpike. We'll mail you an invoice. So what the? I want to pay my toll. Well, all right, whatever. I'd never come across this toll by plate before. So then it says, in 1/4 mile, turn left on, I don't know, like Farmer Jones Road. I'm going, where the flip am I at? I'm like, all right, well, I'm in the middle of PA, lost now. So I better stick to what GPS tells me. And then it tells me in 1.5 miles, turn right on, like, Scotts Creek Road, whatever in the hell it was. I don't know. I'm calling my wife during this, and I said, hey, honey, I just want you to know I'm off the turnpike. I'm headed for Gettysburg, blah, blah, blah. So we're shooting the shit. And I get up to where it says turn right, and I turned right onto a 1.5-lane wide country road, and I make it about 200 feet down the road, and 5 Amish people walk by me going the other way. And I'm like, honey, I want you to know this is where I'm at, and if you don't hear from me anytime soon, you'll know where to start the search party. And if I hear banjos, I am punching it, and I'm flying low. So, yeah, me and GPS don't get along, but that ties in with you saying there's some banjo playing some bitches back in the Appalachians. Yeah, well, I was there in middle of Pennsylvania, too, so.
I know the feeling there. You get lost there, too. What if you didn't find some Amish people?
I mean, how odd, within a mile of the Pennsylvania Turnpike, 1.5 miles or whatever, all of a sudden I've got 5 Amish people walking up the road. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? This can't be good, Bob.
Yes. What is that? He who stands behind the road.
Still know the corn?
Yeah.
Isaac.
Yeah. Isaac be like, get out of the truck. Isaac got his ass run over.
Exactly. I'm not thinking I'm hitting the brakes going, oh, look at the poor little kid. No. You step in front of me.
That's called
gonna
practice.
have a bad day.
Or speed bump.
Speed
Boom, boom,
bump.
boom, boom. Damn, I didn't know they had him out there in the cornfield. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you alone. Let you do your thing.
Okay. So, what is the difference of someone that can do remote viewing and somebody that can astro project?
Honestly, I can't answer that. I think they are pretty much the same thing. I mean, I'm not a dictionary of terminology, so I truly don't know. I know when I do a remote view, and this is the weird thing, and this is why I can't answer. Because sometimes when I do a remote view, it's like I'm there and I have a tour guide, so to speak. And other times it's like Spirit is just showing me pictures of that location. So I truly don't know the difference between one and the other. I mean, astral project I know is to be able to send your energy somewhere and to send your spiritual self somewhere else. And I think during remote viewing, basically that's kind of the same thing that you're doing, only you're also getting input back from Spirit at that location. Prime example, I did a remote view for plantation not far from me here for Ryan and a team that he was with before he joined me. And I had pretty much a tour guide. They had already investigated this plantation, and they picked up an EVP in the basement from a man named Washington. And they believed that he was basically the head slave in charge of the household. And when I did my remote view for that same location, I had a maybe 50-ish, 55-ish year old black male that led me through the location, told me his name was Washington, showed me the location, introduced me to the other spirits that were there and where they were. And I of course relayed all of this to Howie, who was their team leader at the time. And he's like, dude, we've got EVPs from spirits in those locations that match who you're describing. And now the weird thing is, on that one, I felt like I was physically there, like I was walking with Washington and he was showing me through the property. But I did another one in North Dakota. This woman reached out to Ryan because of his radio show, said that her friend in North Dakota has problems in her house and she's scared. Can he help? Well, Ryan's like, I don't know anybody in North Dakota, but I'll talk to my buddy and see if he can do anything. So he contacts me. I said, yeah, come on over, man. We'll sit at the fire pit Saturday night, have a few beers. I'll call her and see if I can connect. I spent, an hour and a half, 2 hours on the phone with this lady. I was describing her house to her, describing what energies I encountered, told her about her son that's in the autistic spectrum, literally had her put her back to the inside of the front door and walked her through the house. But I didn't feel like I was there. I was just seeing all these images being given to me. So I don't know that astral projection and remote viewing are all that far apart. The difference is whether or not my energy goes to that location or it doesn't. So I guess to an extent I can do both, I guess. Mm-hmm. Either way, it still freaks me out from time to time. That woman freaked her out so bad that Ryan didn't hear from them at all for a couple of months. And then he gets a message telling him happy birthday. And then he's they're asking, how the hell did your buddy know so much about my friend's house? She's all kinds of freaked out. It's over a 5,000 square foot house. It's over a 5,000 square foot house. I walked her through it.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's my answer to what's the difference between them. I don't know.
Well, do you have to go through any special training, to do remote viewing? And if so, what kind of training do you do for it?
I just ground myself and listen. I open my mind up, listen to what they want to tell me, and go from there. Now, I'll tell you, coming up, you were gracious enough to invite me to speak at Phantom Fest coming up in November. One of the things that I'm going to do there is kind of a interactive with all those that, care to talk with me or to listen to me talk. I'm going to do an interactive remote viewing session with them, and I'm going to show them kind of what it's like. And I did this once before at St. Albans. I do a very good research on a location, and then I give them a set of geographic coordinates to that location. That's all I give them. I give them a set of numbers. I say, all right, now take a couple of minutes, close your eyes, picture this location, and write down anything and everything that you get about this location. I don't tell them if I'm looking at a meadow, a mountain, the ocean. I don't tell them anything about what it is, just a set of coordinates to that location, and see if they can tap into their own ability to do some of this. Well, I'm not going to lie. I had one young man that's in the autistic spectrum at that sitting that told me he saw a log cabin. I gave him the geographic longitude and latitude for the log cabin, the cabin on 360. This young man described the cabin on 360. He was on point with what he saw. Scared the shit out of himself. Stunned me because I didn't expect anybody to get it. But he described exactly what he was supposed to describe.
Wow.
Shocked me.
Well, do you know about Project Stargate?
I do. Started in 1975.
I thought I'd try to throw you a curveball. Damn it.
You get that one out.
Damn it, Bob.
Damn it.
Project Stargate started about 1975. It was by the federal government under the Department of Defense. Now, the colonel that led that was convinced that he could find out information about enemy targets, enemy locations, and everything else during the Cold War that would help protect our country. Now, technically and officially, I think it was 1989, they closed Project Stargate, defunded it, and everything else. But one cool thing about Project Stargate is during that, when Lieutenant Ed Dames was running it, he would give them coordinates just like I did and say, what can you pick up around this area? One thing that they said they saw were these long tube-like things on trucks moving across a mountainous terrain. Well, at that point, we didn't have mobile ICBM launchers. We didn't have trucks that could pull intercontinental ballistic missiles across the countryside. But Russia did, and that's where he was having them look. And they identified those. Well, then they start sending up the SR-71 Blackbirds, the very high-altitude surveillance craft, and they're spotting these things going, holy shit. Lieutenant Ed Dames and his remote viewing people from Project Stargate told us about these. So, yeah, I know a little bit about Project Stargate.
Very impressed.
Now, it was also, though, see, Project Stargate wasn't the original name for it. There were 2 or 3 different projects. Like DOD had theirs, CIA had theirs, and when they all came together and formed one conglomerative study in remote viewing, that's when they named it Project Stargate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he answered mine. He got me. I tried to throw a little curveball in it. Hey, well, were you a remote viewer? That's a good little test question to ask.
and you passed, man. You passed.
I'm sorry, damn it. I have some knowledge on my craft. Shit.
Man, you got an A, brother.
Sorry.
Do I get a star on my paper, teacher? Huh? Do I get a star?
You got a star, brother.
Okay, so when you're remote viewing, can you control somebody's, like, a person's thought?
No.
No.
It's not. It's totally different.
Okay.
Yeah, it's totally. I don't have access into your mind. That is not what remote viewing is about. Remote viewing is about seeing a location or connecting with the spirits at that location and have them interact with me. It's not interacting with the living.
Okay.
It's interacting with the spirits or the energy of a location. Perfect prime example. When I did full spectrum radio with Matt, after several times of doing remote views for him, or I would do a brief read on a guest that called in and called mediumship bullshit, and I have to prove him wrong, he took it as a challenge. Can I fuck Dennis up? So he would call me at random times and go, hey, brother, where am I at? Shit. Circus clown to the rescue. So I would start describing the location he's at. But it had nothing to do with his mind or the other people that were there. It was a matter of that location or the spirits that are there talking back to me.
Oh, cool. You got another one for him?
Does remote viewing, like, does it affect your well-being? Like, physically, what does it do for you when you do that?
Wears my ass out.
Okay.
Because I literally have to lend. It's like, all right, so you'll hear most mediums talk about when they do a connection for people. And when I do connections for people, it wears me out because I have to lend my energy for that connection to happen. I have to lend my emotions to that connection for it to happen. So yeah, it physically it tires me because I have to give my energy up to allow that to occur. So if I let myself get run down, if I haven't grounded myself in a while, if I haven't cleansed myself in a while, I have an extremely hard time making connection because I haven't taken care of myself. You know, I wouldn't rely on my truck to get me across the country if I don't take care of it. And I won't rely on my body and my mind and my connections to take me across town if I don't take care of them. And that goes, you know, along that same line, that goes for anybody that does paranormal investigations. You're going out and you're lending your energy, your existence. We're a walking battery cell for spirit. I mean, they're going to tap on the weakest one, and they're going to pull as much energy from them that they possibly can. And if you don't take time and ground yourself and cleanse yourself, all kinds of bad things can happen. I mean, paranormal investigating isn't just going out sitting in the dark going, hey, anybody here want to talk to us? I mean, it is that, but it's also putting yourself in some danger. I mean, you watch these guys on TV. Now, granted, I won't say any names, but you know they get possessed all the time. That's not really a joke. It does happen. It can happen. And if you don't protect yourself properly, you can truly get hurt in this field.
Yes, I agree with that.
And I don't mean just from, you know, walking around in the dark and you fall in a, you know, hole. I mean, you're opening yourself up to who knows what. I mean, one of the easiest ways to explain this is how many of you would open your front door, step out on your front porch and yell, "Hey, anybody want to come talk to me? Come on in." It's not a bright thing to do. You don't know who is going to accept that invitation.
That's true. Well, one more question about the remote viewing, and we'll move on. How far back or how far in the future have you remote viewed?
Well, I haven't done future, but I did make a connection in Connecticut. My daughter called me. My son-in-law is in the Navy, and they got sent to Groton, Connecticut. And about a month after they got up there, she called me one night, and she goes, "Hey, Dad, one of Jay's boatmates rented a house here in town, and he's doing some work on it, and he's got strange things happening. Can you kind of peek in and see what's going on?" Well, this house was, the house was original. The original portion of the house, anyway, was from like 1780, maybe even earlier than that. I don't really remember. But I interacted with the old man that built the house.
Wow.
By hand. I described the house to them. Now, this is, 600 miles away? Mm-hmm. But I described the house to them, and I saw, like, the basement wall is all the big round field stones and everything, and I described that. So that would be, I think that's pretty much the furthest back that I've done so far. I'm sure there are more to come where I'm going to scratch my head and go, or I'll think of another that actually goes back even further. But off the top of my head, that's probably the oldest location that I've remote viewed. One of the cool things was they didn't understand, like there were two entrances to the basement. There was steps leading from inside, and then there was the original, like the big heavy lift out cellar doors. Mm-hmm. Those were on the back side of the house. And I told them that, the reason, I said, I see these steps going in from the back of the house, and they're very wide and they're very thick. These are like 3-inch thick boards. That was for him to bring his animals in the wintertime so they didn't freeze to death. And they're like, "Man, I always wondered why these things were so damn beefy. I mean, these are like 3-inch thick planks." And I'm like, "Yeah, that was so he could bring his animals in."
Wow. Well, that's awesome. Okay, next topic, Ouija boards. Everybody in the paranormal community has their opinions about them. What's your thoughts on the Ouija board?
I don't see anything wrong with it if you know what you're doing. Let me ask you this. This is my turn to put you in the hot seat, Rodney.
Oh, shit.
What's the difference between a Ouija board and a EVP digital voice recorder?
Really, there isn't any difference because you're still asking questions using one electronic device and the other one a piece of board. You're still trying to get an answer.
They both have
You're still asking spirit to. Yeah, it's all about.
I got an A too.
Huh?
I said I got an A.
Yeah, you get a gold star. You got a gold star, Big Daddy.
You ain't right about that.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I got into weird
intention.
Man, I'm sorry. You ever what's his name? Hall.
Anthony
Michael Hall, where he's all drunk and they're in the bar, the black bar.
Let me tell you something, bro. Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry, I got into that earlier. Melinda's about ready to rip my head off.
From time to time, we all just got to do what we got to do, don't we?
That's right. That's what I tried to tell the woman. Listen, fucking believe me, man.
Oh my goodness!
When she pees herself and smacks you, I'm going to laugh at you.
Let me tell you, that's kind of hot, man. Get
Okay,
pissed
R.
on,
Kelly.
get pissed on and slapped too. And she's legal? Hell. Oh. Damn, brother.
See,
No,
if you were to say that to R. Kelly, though, he would lose interest the instant you said, and she's legal.
Yeah. It should be like us 2-0. I like it when they're just coming into puberty. Puberty. I said that all wrong there. Fuck puberty up. I did it again. God damn it.
English, bitch. Speak it.
I'm speaking the old English now.
That's that Appalachian English.
The douche.
That's what you said, douche.
The douche. I'm speaking the douche.
Hey, baby, what they talking about, douche?
Oh my God.
Is that time I'm on again, baby?
No more for you.
I'm sorry, man. I feel like I'm taking away from you. This is your moment, not mine. What the hell am I doing?
You're having fun, same as I am. If listeners got a problem, they can message you to one of us and complain.
Oh, I fucked up. I fucked up yesterday and caught all hell, pissing people off down here. Why not piss off some more?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Here's a secret. And this comes from nearly 5 decades on this planet. You're not going to make everybody happy, and you're going to piss off people from time to time. Well, they just need to suck it up and move on, right?
That's right. Better pissed off than pissed on. What I say.
Well, unless you're R. Kelly.
Or the girls of R. Kelly.
Go ahead, give me that golden
Yeah,
shower.
see, now you started that shit. See, you started that shit, and it's a slippery slope.
No, you
Straight
did.
to hell, brother.
You talking about the PP, not me.
I did mention R. Kelly.
No.
He mentioned PP, you went R. Kelly, and then it all went downhill after that.
With hell.
See, R. Kelly, you even fucking up my damn radio show. Fuck you. I won't sue him.
That's right, sue him. Can't get blood out of a turnip.
Do it quick. Hell, you didn't have bail money. You had to borrow that.
Oh.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I mean, come on.
Okay.
Homeboy has millions, or had millions, and couldn't even come up with, what was it, $3,000 for bond?
Not really.
100,000.
It was 100 G's.
Yeah, it was 100,000.
The hell, if you got millions, 100 G's in pocket change, ain't it?
Pretty much.
I would think.
I don't know.
But
I'm pretty
who
sure
knows?
if I had millions of dollars, I wouldn't be walking around with 100,000 in my pocket. I can tell you that right now.
You're not going to
I'd
be that man from West Virginia.
Hell no. I'd be lucky if I had $5 in my pocket. They'd be like, well, you a million. I'd be like, that's why I'm a millionaire. I don't have no money on me, bitch. Oh, my gosh. I can't stop
Yeah, well,
it.
I'm so poor. I'm so damn poor, I can't even pay attention. What were you saying?
See, that's what I said. We're broke motherfucker. We're broke. Broke bitch. You can tell that's a white black boy there, can't you? White boy trying to be black. It ain't gonna work. Okay,
That's right. So, yeah. All right, back to Ouija board. I got no problem with them if you know what you're doing. If you open it, close it right, just like you're doing a spirit box session, just like you're doing a recording session. Either way, you're asking the spirit to come through and interact with you. You don't know who you're inviting. The same thing as stepping out on your front porch and saying, hey, anybody want to come in and talk to them? You don't know who the hell's coming. So, but in both cases, you have to protect yourself. You have to know what you're doing. Now,
that's true.
I've heard some people say that, yeah, but with a Ouija board, you're lending your energy to that planchette to move it. Well, same with a digital recorder, you're lending your energy for them to manipulate what gets captured on that recorder. So what's the damn difference? There ain't none. You just have to know what you're doing. That goes right back to, you can seriously invite some negative shit in. I took Ryan with me to a location. A woman contacted me and said, I got some weird shit going on in my house. We're scared. Can you come in and help? So I took Ryan with me. soon as we walked in the door, I'm like, no, this ain't good. Well, I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of listening to the house itself, and I'm listening to what's going on, and I'm opening myself up. I start asking her questions. I said, so tell me about the pentagram and the 666 and dragons and everything that was written on the walls in this back room over here. And she's like, how do you know all about that? I said, I'm seeing it. And she said, well, when we first moved into this house, it was a bank foreclosure. When we moved in 12 years ago, it was a single mother and her teenage son, and that was his room, and that's the room that we have the worst issue in. And I said, yeah, it's coming from the closet. Whatever he invited in comes in and out through the closet in there. And Ryan has a recorder running, and the husband of the house said something, I forget what it was, something like, we're tired of it being here, or can you make it go away? And Ryan's got a perfect Class A EVP of a voice saying, shut up, old man. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So, it was something that this young man had invited in. But the writing and the drawings and everything that were on the wall, she had painted over half a dozen times. So there was no trace of it there. But I could see it because it was the energy that was left there. It had stained the house, literally. And, the same thing goes with Ouija board, EVPs. Anytime that you invite spirit to come interact with you, you can invite some dark shit and not even know it. So that's my take on Ouija board. I don't have a problem with it. I've used them. I open a session, I close a session, I tell anything that came through it has to go back and it can't come with me. Anybody that's investigated with me, I've led numerous group investigations. Last thing I do leaving a location is look over my shoulder and tell them, this is your home, I'm going to mine, and you are not permitted to follow me. Does that mean they won't? Does that mean they can't? Hell, I don't know. It just gives me a little bit of a sense of better feeling if I tell them you can't come with me. Now they have. I've brought shit home with me before, and I always know when I do. Typically, when I come home, I've got 3 big, like 60-pound pit bulls. Well, mutts in the pit bull breed family. But usually they'll meet me at the back door and tails are wagging. And they're like, oh, daddy's home, daddy's home, daddy's home. If I manage to bring something home with me, they'll meet me at the back door and they're like, oh, daddy's home, daddy's home. Oh, fuck no. And they'll turn and go lay down and turn their backs to me. All right, okay, well, I get it. Something's with me, and I'll go outside and I'll do prayer and blessing, and I'll take a knee and I'll ground myself, and I'll tell whatever's with me it has to go back where it came from. Come back in the house, and the dogs act like I've never even gone back out. It's like it's the first time I've come in the house, and now they're all happy to see me again. So, it just goes right back to that. You have to be very careful in this field. For those that are just thinking of getting into it, and they're like, oh, man, it looks cool. I watch the TV shows all the time. Trust me, don't do what the people on TV shows do. On average, for a 30-minute episode, there are 70 hours that go into that investigation to get 30 minutes of an episode. Now, I know this for a fact because I'm the film director for the Twisted Realm with Lyle Lotz, Tana, the Twisted Paranormal Society. We run 4 or 5 cameras, handhelds, plus the DVR system. So there's all this effort that goes into it to put out one 30-minute or one 1-hour episode. There are hours and hours and hours that go into it. And what you see on TV basically are only the highlights. You don't see, most of the time, the prayer session that goes in before you leave or before you enter the property, the prayer session that goes on as you're leaving, the occasional issue that arises during investigation. You know, most of that stuff gets chopped out and left on the cutting room floor for most of the TV shows out there. Once in a while, you'll see, you know, Mr. Famous, you know, throw shit around and punch his walls and everything. But most of the time, they don't show you that stuff. Those are real things that can happen.
You got another question for me?
I do.
All right.
So what type of scientific study or tools do you use during an investigation?
Scientific study or tools?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my favorite tool is myself. I'm probably the biggest tool anybody knows. Oh, wait, that didn't sound right, did it?
Never did, brother. You sound like you a fool, brother.
There he goes.
My man's here telling me he's a fool. He's a tool, brother. He's a tool.
But no, I mean, probably my favorite piece of equipment is just a voice recorder. I mean, a flashlight going off, that can be at random. If I set 3 flashlights up and I number them 1, 2, and 3, and then they can answer accordingly, hey, can you turn on number 3 for yes, turn on number 2 for no, turn on number 1 if it's you don't know, and I get answers according to that with 3 flashlights, hey, then I might buy into the flashlight worked on this location. Most of the time, that doesn't work that way. But a voice recorder, it's very hard to deny when you ask, can you tell me your name, and you hear a voice comes back and says, James, or whatever. So, yeah, my favorite is definitely a voice recorder. And I also like to use EMF meters. I like to monitor the environment, temperature gauges, things like that. You know, if theory is correct that spirit can pull the energy from the atmosphere and they can cause a cold spot, how are we going to know if all of a sudden you, quote unquote, feel a cold spot, but you don't have anything there to tell you what the temperature is? Mm-hmm. Maybe you just got a chill. And I remember growing up, they always told me, you know, that strange feeling when a chill runs up your back, that's somebody walked over your grave. Mm-hmm. I can't walk over my grave because I've already got it predetermined that I'm going to be cremated. I don't have a grave. So when I get that cold chill runs up my back, what are they, walking in the frickin' ocean? Because that's where I want my ashes thrown.
You know, it could be millions and millions of years from now that they're walking over your ashes.
Maybe. But, yeah, I mean, there's so many pieces of equipment now that, and I mean, virtually no piece of equipment is designed specifically to interact with the dead. Why? Because we don't know how the hell to interact with them. We don't know if they move through EMF. We don't know if they move through static fields. Maybe they don't move through either of them. So, yeah, a voice recorder and the way my body reacts is pretty much my favorite pieces of equipment.
Oh, okay. Well, what's the strangest or the weirdest case that you've ever investigated?
Weirdest or strangest? I think that would probably be trying to think which one I would. It'd probably be the one where they heard the growls and so forth that I was talking about just a little bit ago. They had all the drawings and everything on the walls because the energy there felt like it was just running from me. It was just really weird. The reports that they had were, you know, things would move and so forth. I mean, I don't know. I haven't gotten any of the really strange ones so far. I'm waiting. I know they're coming eventually. But most of the things that you hear, you know, I mean, see, for me, that one's kind of hard to answer because shadow figures, voices and noises, I don't consider those strange anymore. Is that bad? They're just kind of normal anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, there's.
It leaves you speechless sometimes. Well, what's your opinion about so many paranormal TV shows? Do you think it's helping or hurting the paranormal field of study?
See, I don't want to knock any of them because that's just not right. I mean, to an extent, they've helped. They brought the paranormal into the forefront, so to speak. So even if to an extent they make a mockery of it, they were still able to bring it to the forefront. I look back at guys like Brad and Barry Kling. They did the program Ghost Lab. I thought it was wonderful. The way they investigated, the way they did things. They helped set the standard for how things were done in this. Then you get guys like, Ghost Hunters. They did a slightly different twist on it, but they all did one good thing. Even the shows now that are mocked so badly, they did one good thing. They made it a little more acceptable for John or Jane Doe, whose child is afraid to sleep in their own room. They made it a little more acceptable for them to step forward and go, hey, I've got strange shit happening in my house. I need help. Before that, it was kind of taboo to talk about, I think I got a haunted house. I think I've got a ghost in my house. It was kind of taboo because people would look at you a little out of the corner of their eye like, kind of fucking weird there, aren't you? But they, even though they have, to an extent, some of them have kind of made a mockery of it, they still brought it to the forefront so it could be looked at a little less critical. And they made it more acceptable to talk about paranormal activity in your own home. That's a positive. I mean, that makes it so, little Johnny that's afraid to sleep in his own bed because the bad man that comes out of the closet can be dealt with. And it's not just little Johnny being in fear of his own room because the bad man coming out of the closet. Now there are people like myself and Black Diamond Paranormal Society and Transcend and Twisted and Yorktown Paranormal, and there's a dozen teams right here in my area. Some I will vouch for, some I won't vouch for, some I just don't know. But it made it easier for them to come forward and go, hey, I've got shit happening in my house. Can you come check it out?
Mm-hmm. Well, where do you think the future of the paranormal supernatural world is heading? Do you think the people are kind of getting bored with it or tired with it, or do you think it's going to keep either building or staying steady?
Well, and that kind of depends on who they put in the limelight. If they put real teams and real people in real programs, I've got to give Nick Groff and Elizabeth Saint huge kudos and huge props, round of applause, starting VidiSpace and starting the Haunted Space, because they've brought teams and shows on like Behind These Walls, The Twisted Realm, shows like that are just real teams going out and doing what we love to do without the huge bullshit production companies that hold their thumb over everything that we do. See, I got offered a TV show quite a while back when we were still doing full spectrum radio, and we turned it down. Why? They wouldn't give us artist interaction when it came to the production. Well, one of the things that when I interviewed Brad and Barry, one of the things that they said made them walk away from Ghost Lab was there was bullshit going on that wasn't really happening. If they had a slow episode or a slow location, they would pull something from another area, another location that wasn't significant enough to be in that episode, but they would put it in this episode and say it occurred there. And they're like, that's bullshit. That's not the way we work. So they walked away. But now you have teams like Twisted Paranormal Society doing the Twisted Realm on VidiSpace that are doing a real investigation, doing real production themselves that isn't under the thumb and control of big production companies that don't care about making it real. They care about making it real entertaining. And they care about the advertising dollars. So I think if we can get real teams doing this, and we put real teams in the spotlight, like Nick and Elizabeth did with VidiSpace Haunted Space, I think we can actually progress the field. You know, we've got guys that design equipment to try to interact, and that's all they do. You know, you got Paranologies, you got Paratronics, you've got, you know, any one of a dozen different small self-started companies that are making equipment with the idea of us being able to interact with the other side. And the more we do that, who knows, maybe somebody will come up with an idea that it just works. Mm-hmm. I mean, the other side, all right, from the dawn of time, let's go back 3,100 years ago, 4,000 years ago, to the pyramids in Egypt. They believed in life after death. That's why they put so much stuff inside the burial chambers with their pharaohs and their kings, because they wanted them to be comfortable in the afterlife. There was something after this meat suit that we walk around in that they wanted that spirit, that energy to have on the other side and to be comfortable there. So from 4,000 years ago, we still knew there was something on the other side. There was something after this meat suit is gone. And since then, we've been chasing and chasing and chasing and trying to figure out what and how we interact with it. And eventually, I think there will be a breakthrough, and all of a sudden we'll go, holy shit, it's been right there all along.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I have a question. I watched The Deadfall, and I actually like Amy Allen. I was wondering what your opinion is about her.
I've never personally interacted with her, but if there's no editing, and if that show is production-wise as it presents itself to be, and she is that spot on, that is what I hope to and what I aspire to be with my abilities. I want to be that spot on to where I can help people to the degree that she can.
Okay.
I mean, most people will tell you that, you know, all the TV mediums, you know, they're fed information. I don't know. Maybe they are to an extent. And maybe she is just that damn good with her abilities. I would like to hope she is, and I would like to hope that, I'd like to think that we haven't had the wool pulled over our eyes. But honestly, I don't know. I know as an individual, all the people that I've talked to that have met her have said that she is one of the sweetest people they've met.
That's awesome. Well, you also are caretaker of a cemetery. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I can't say that I'm a caretaker of it. All right, so I come from a long line of military family. And there's a cemetery here in Richmond called Evergreen Cemetery that started in the 1890s. And it was the black community's answer to Hollywood Cemetery. That was the prestigious cemetery for the white folk of the time. There are 3-4 presidents buried there in Hollywood Cemetery, but black folk couldn't be buried in Hollywood Cemetery because it was, quote unquote, the white folk cemetery. So their solution was, we'll build our own cemetery, we'll buy land, we will create our own cemetery, and it will be a place of prestige and honor to bury our significant loved ones of prestige, I guess, at the time. Like, there's a burial there for a woman named Maggie L. Walker. Now, here in Richmond, we have a school named Maggie L. Walker Governor School. She was the first female black bank president. She started a bank to help the black community, and she was first female bank president. Well, this cemetery went through, it started out as private holding, then that private individual sold it, company bought it, that company was going bankrupt, they sold it off to another company, that company sold off like 20 acres of it to the city of Richmond to help fund purchasing the rest of it, and then that company went defunct and it went back into private hands. So in all these years that it was going from hand to hand, there was no perpetual care. There were no funds for keeping it maintained, keeping grass cut, keeping the trees from growing up. So now you have a 60-plus acre plot that has thousands and thousands of burials, and nobody takes care of it. So Mother Nature took her land back. So you have, I think there are somewhere around 5,000 burials there, or far greater than that. I honestly, I'm not even certain off the top of my head. But we go, and when I say we, I mean myself and Ryan Jones and Commonwealth Researchers of the Paranormal, and we volunteer, we get other volunteers, and we go out and we place flags for all the veterans' graves that are there, that we've found so far anyway. So last November for Veterans Day, we placed 218 flags, I believe. Now there's 4 cemeteries right there clumped together that have pretty much all 4 been abandoned, for lack of better terms. So you have, you can look up online the 4 cemeteries at Evergreen, but right there all together is East End Cemetery, which I'll give a huge shout out and kudos to John Shuck and his team. Look them up on Facebook. It's Friends of East End. They do a wonderful job clearing and trying to recover East End Cemetery. They started out working with Evergreen Cemetery, and then a nonprofit named Enrichment Foundation bought Evergreen Cemetery, and they're trying to reclaim the cemetery back from Mother Nature so they can make it a prestigious place and a place of honor and dignity for our loved ones. I don't know anybody buried there, but I do know that every theater of war that the United States has been in, from the Civil War to Desert Storm, is represented by veterans in Evergreen Cemetery.
Wow.
So we go out twice a year, Memorial Day and Veterans Day. We take up last round's flags and we put down new flags, and we honor those veterans the way that they should be. Now this year we're doing something different. There's another cemetery in town that John Shuck and his team have started to work on called Woodland Cemetery. And right now I know of 75 veterans' graves there that they've uncovered. So we're going to cover those with flags this year too. But these are men that wrote a check to our country up to and equal to their own life that need to be honored. They don't need to be in the middle of the woods, the headstone that nobody knows they're there anymore. They need to be honored with a flag. So that's what we do.
Well, I agree. There's a cemetery that we've investigated a couple of times, and it's actually a part Jewish and part black. And the Jewish part of it, they have people that come and help take care of it. We actually help a couple, 2 or 3 years. But the black part of it, I've tried to get people involved to clean it up, cut the woods out of it and everything. And because it's really historical, because these people came in here to mine the coal, and just nobody's interested in it. And it's just such a daunting task that I don't have the manpower or the equipment power. I mean, if I was to do it, me and a handful of guys, it'd probably take us 5 years to clean it off.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just trying to keep up with it as it's growing back behind you.
Exactly. And, East End Cemetery has 16 acres to it. And John Shuck has been working in East End Cemetery for 10 years. He is probably maybe a third of the way through it, having it fully cleared back. And the trouble is, as he makes progress into that next acre, they also have to go back and re-clear the first acre.
Yeah.
But he does it all as a volunteer labor of love. And, if we had 2,000 John Shucks and 2,000 Rodneys that cared enough to go in and clear these things out, there are hundreds or thousands of cemeteries in this country that have been done the same way. They've just been allowed, Mother Nature's just been allowed to take them back.
Yeah, and the local government and local towns just don't want to put no money in it to help clean it up, and it's part of their history, and it's sad. It is real sad. But people like you.
Here's the cool thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but here's the cool thing. The General Assembly for the Commonwealth of Virginia has just passed a bill that allows funds to be set aside for the cleanup and reclamation of black cemeteries. For years and years, there have been funds set aside by the General Assembly after the Civil War to take care of some of the white cemeteries, Confederate cemeteries, and things like that, but there haven't been funds set aside for the black cemeteries. Now they've passed legislation that they will start making funds available to recognize nonprofits to help take care of these cemeteries too. So these folks, I'll give you a prime example, and I realize we're down in low double-digit numbers for time-wise. I'll tell you about one of the soldiers that's laid to rest at Evergreen Cemetery, Captain William A. Hankins, died in 1907. He was a captain in the Spanish-American War over the 48th. So he was a captain over the 48th. He had 52, quote-unquote, volunteers in his ranks. They were ordered to the Philippines to fight in the Spanish-American War. So they go down to Florida. They're waiting for their ship to take them over to the Philippines. They went into a restaurant to get dinner, and they were told, you can't be in here. We don't serve your kind. They couldn't even get dinner served to them, but they were getting ready to board a vessel and go off to war to fight for our country. So Captain Hankins, one of seven captains of color in the entire United States Army in 1901 when he went to war. All right? So he goes over to the Philippines. He takes his 52 men from the 48th. He is told, you need to go take this enemy outpost. What he didn't know was 3 white-led white companies had already retreated from that enemy outpost due to attrition and injury amongst their ranks. 3 companies of white-led white men retreated from this enemy outpost. Captain Hankins set up at 2:15 in the morning and at first light fired the first shot. He took the enemy outpost without one single loss of life to his ranks. Yet he killed 150 men to take that outpost, and then was told, hey, that's the outer defenses. You need to take the next, you need to move forward and take the enemy post. He did that and raised the stars and stripes on that enemy post and did not suffer one casualty amongst his men.
Wow.
That is a fucking hero.
Mm-hmm.
But he's laid to rest in the middle of the woods in some little forgotten about cemetery. Under, his headstone is under, Virginia creeper and everything else. But he's laid to rest in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Did he get a ticker tape parade? No. He got a pat on the back and sent off to his next destination. Had he been a white captain and took that same outpost, there would have probably been a ticker tape parade and everything else. But no, he got a pat on the back, said, go on to the next. But it's men like that we need to honor that aren't getting honored, and that's why we do what we do. We go out, we raise funds with an event at the cabin on 360. We buy the flags, which I've already bought the flags for this round. I've got 240 American flags. By the way, they're always made in the USA. Just waiting to go out for Memorial Day.
That's awesome, and I commend you and everyone that's putting that work and time in for that. That's awful.
Yeah, that's big time.
Awful admirable of you all.
Hey, I can't take all the credit. I've got, and it started out, don't get me wrong, this will be our 5th year doing it. And the first 3.5 years of it was Ryan and myself out there stumbling around through the woods. And we did it just the two of us. But, as with anything else, we've built some momentum behind it. And now I've got a great group that comes out with us. I think last November when we went out and did it for Veterans Day, I think we had 12 people came out with us. It really made it a lot shorter of a day.
Yeah. We
weren't out there till dark. Whereas there were times before that Ryan and I would be out there with a flashlight in the dark doing it.
Yeah.
So, I've got to give kudos to, my team and the volunteers that back us up and come out and help us out. And thank you so much to all of them. And I've got a couple of ladies that, they're closely tied in with the VFW in Mechanicsville. They take all of our old flags and the VFW retires them properly, which took a lot of stress off of us too.
That's awesome. Well, I got one more question for you. Have you had any experiences other than the paranormal, such as the crypto or any UFO encounters?
Honestly, I can't say as I have. I may have. It just doesn't stand out in my mind. I don't have anything that I can really say, I had a Bigfoot encounter where, just nothing. I don't have any other really cool stories.
Okay.
I did catch a fish one time that I have no flipping clue what it was.
Well, I've had that myself. Well, we've got about 5 more minutes, so you're going to be a speaker at Phantom Fest this year, and you got anything else? Any events that you're going to, or any projects you're working on you'd like to talk about real quick? And also, how they want any information on how to get in contact with you.
Yeah, I'm easy to find. Just look up Dennis Estlock on Facebook. Now I have a couple of different ones. I've got the public figure page, That's just a like page or a follow page. I'm not real fond of it, but Facebook made me change my name and made me change that, or they were going to wipe me out. So I turned it into a public figure page. But make sure to like just Dennis. I mean, not like, but send me a friend request, just Dennis Estlock. No middle initial. That one's for family and close immediate friends. Check out my team's page, Commonwealth Researchers of the Paranormal. Like we've mentioned, the location that I run here outside Richmond is the cabin on 360. Ryan Jones and myself run that. Definitely an active place. It sits on the battlefields for the battles of Bethesda Church. 1864, I can account for 2,264 men killed, captured, wounded, or missing in action within about 1.5 miles to 2 miles of that property. Very active. We've had numerous teams come through. I've got like Dave Spinks, who's investigated dozens and dozens of locations, says it's in his top 5. So there's the things to watch. Definitely check out the TV show that I'm part of. Like I said, I'm the film director for the Twisted Realm. That's Twisted Paranormal Society. Both of those have Facebook pages. Check them out. Look on VidiSpace, the Haunted Space. They also have Facebook pages, but check out the Twisted Realm. I think you'll really appreciate it. It is real, not bullshit investigating. You can also check out Spring Paranormal Investigation at Henricus Historical Park. That's on March 9th. I've got like 5 tickets left for it, and it dates all the way back to 1611. Jamestown settled 1607. Henricus settled 1611. I've seen everything there from full-bodied apparitions to myself and their native interpreter, Sean, were sitting out at the fire pit one morning and watched 5 full-dressed native warriors walk off into the wood line and just disappear. Awesome place to check out. So that's March 9th. I've got members from Twisted Paranormal Society joining us. There's going to be members from Yorktown Paranormal Society. Dick Settle's coming down out of Fredericksburg to join us. So it's pretty much going to be a para-gathering. Coming up in, now it hasn't been put out there yet, but coming up in May, you're going to catch Paranormal Dares at the cabin. That's going to be a really cool event. April, we'll be back at St. Albans Sanatorium for Enigma Cons. That should be pretty cool. I don't know if I'll be part of the investigation. I hope to be, but I think they've pretty much already got that settled as to who's helping with that. I understand they got a couple of the boys coming in from I can't even think of their show. Yeah, the Wraith Chasers. So they'll probably take care of that, but who knows? I might be asked to lead again. And then, of course, like you said, in November, I'll be speaking at Phantom Fest. Come out and check me out for that, because I'll be doing a interactive remote viewing session. I'm going to see if I can get you guys and the people that attend that, I'm going to see if I can get them to do remote view as well.
Awesome.
And also at Henricus, I've got members of Transcend Paranormal are going to be joining us. So I forgot to mention them. They weren't on my notes. Sorry, Steve. Thank you, brother. You know I love you, man, but damn, there's a lot to get through. But I'll tell you what, if you get a chance, check out Hanover Tavern. And, I know coming up on, March 30, I believe. Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, brother. March 30, Transcend Paranormal is going to be doing a joint investigation between Hanover Tavern and Scotchtown, which both of them have very strong ties to Patrick Henry. Very cool locations. Everything benefits Hanover Tavern and Scotchtown, both historic locations. Check them out.
Awesome. Well, Dennis, like I said, it's been an honor to have you on, and a privilege, man. And anytime you want to come back by, just let me know. And doors are always open, brother.
Well, brother, I can't tell you how honored I am that you asked me to come on and be part of your show. I'm definitely honored, and I'm flattered that you found me interesting enough to want to talk to me.
Oh,
and not even once did you call me a fucker.
Did I let you down? Sorry.
Yeah, well,
damn,
you know, from time to time, I got to have a conversation where I don't get called a fucker.
Okay.
That's all right. No, I'll go investigate. I'll break out a recorder here shortly, even at home, and I'll get called a fucker, and I'm by myself.
Damn. Well, damn, that's terrible. I just get called Rodney. Or Rod. I don't get called fucker. I've been called asshole a lot. Some bitch.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, fucker, it's been a pleasure being on your show.
Well, fucker, it's been an honor to have you on.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I feel the love, man.
Nothing but love. You want to say bye-bye to him?
Bye.
Bye, darling. Y'all have a nice night now, you hear?
Yeah, you come on back now.
Yeah. See, in my family, ain't none of us suffer from insanity. We all put it out on the front porch and enjoy it heavily.
That's exactly right. Why hide it? Sit out there and enjoy it. Well, bud, I'll let you go. You have a good night, okay? And have a good weekend.
Yeah, brother, I appreciate it, man. Steve, thank you, man. I'm surprised you actually sat back and listened to the whole show, but he sent me a message, enjoyed the show. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. You got a hell of a tenacious personality to sit and listen to my ass drone on for 2 hours. And I can't believe you didn't hang up on me and go, son of a bitch, what is wrong with that man?
Well, sometimes the computer does it, or Blog Talk does, and kind of freaks me out. I'm having to dial in my own show. Everybody's like, hello? Is it there?
Exactly. I'm waiting on that little British bitch to go, thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Well, she's already did that.
So we're in archive now.
Yeah, we're in archives, yeah. See, one time I did a show with a lady, and this is when I was first starting, and we were still talking like we're just shooting shit here. And she was talking some serious smack about her son and future daughter-in-law, and I accidentally uploaded it all, and she called me fucking panicking. You got to take it down now. So I had to hurry up, rush back home, and cut everything, take it down, cut it, and then repost it back up. Whew. I thought I was going to have a heart attack.
Or give her one.
Well, I gave her one.
Well,
she was about ready to come and kill my ass.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. We were doing, and this is back when I was doing Full Spectrum with Matt. We're into the archive section. So we've got 2 women that were visiting or interviewing and whatnot. And all of a sudden we start hearing a male voice. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So, through the control board, you can mute the different people online. And we ran through and muted everybody. And we could still hear this male voice talking. And then all of a sudden it called out one of our guests. We're like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, we were catching EVPs, and we listened for 2 straight minutes of, it had to have been EVPs. And, I mean, it was crazy. I mean, there's nobody talking. It's internet radio, so it's through the phone lines, and none of us were using hardline. We're all on cell phone. But our phones were muted through the board, and we're still hearing this male voice talking and calling out one of our guests. I mean, it had to have been EVP because it was the strangest shit. We have no explanation for why we could hear this male voice talking.
Wow, that's awesome. That's I haven't I don't think I've had any EVPs on the show, but anything like that. But I have heard some strange things in the background. While I don't know if people are actually doing that or making the noises, but it's been kind of odd sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, when you mute them through the board, you can't hear jack shit from them.
Yeah.
So why we were still hearing that male voice, we have no answers for. It was strange. But I mean, like we could hear him like yelling. Like, is one of y'all's husbands mad and yelling in the background? And both women are like, no, we're isolated off by ourselves. Like, what the hell is going on here?
Damn.
But I mean, if you think about it, they can interact with us through our cell phones, through radios. We use the SB7, which is just a broken radio.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't they be able to come through, internet system and interact with us? But it was strange.
Oh, I'm sure they can, and they probably get a bigger boost in energy so they can put out whatever message you're trying to put out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the reasons why I have been at this for so damn long. I don't have answers, and I'm that type that, I want to know the answers. I once I started into it, and I started getting these questions, I wanted to know the answers, and I'm that anal type that will dig and dig and dig and dig till I find the answers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
In this field, I just can't find them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can get responses, and here's an oddity. All right, so in the biggest majority of my investigations, one of the most common questions I ask during EVP sessions is there a sense of time on that side? I have yet to get that answer. So, I want to know, on that side, am I able to, all right, so I did a connection for a woman one time, and I interacted with what turned out to be her father, and she said, it feels like he's here sometimes, but other times he's not. And I said, well, he's telling me that he goes to Florida and checks on your brother and his 2 kids. But I didn't understand, can he just blink and be there? And I couldn't get him to explain that to me. But I was spot on. She did have a brother that had 2 kids in Florida, and she's like, I don't know how the hell you know that. I said, well, that's what he's telling me. He comes and checks on you, and then he goes and checks on your brother and makes sure that those grandbabies are okay. And then he comes back and checks on you, and he's just, kind of floating around, checking on family and making sure everybody's okay. But I couldn't get him to tell me how he was able to go from A to B. And that's one of the things that I want to know. And one really cool thing, and I was talking to my cousin about it today. Now, 7 months ago, my cousin had a heart attack. He's only 2 years older than me. And then last week, he had a stroke. So our own mortality is kind of tapping us on the shoulder going, hey, and each gray hair that I discover, each new wrinkle that I discover, I come a little more in contact with my own mortality and my own understanding that I'm not going to be here forever. I hope that I'm going to be here long enough to see my grandchildren graduate, get married, have babies, but I really don't think that's going to happen. My grandkids are, oldest one's 5 years old. I'm already 50. I don't think there's much chance that I'm going to be here to see them have children. So, it just lets me have a little more confidence in when this meat suit dies, I might still be able to see my great-grandchildren. You know, if my own grandfather came back and told me goodbye and he loved me, that tells me that they can come back from that side and they can visit us. And each new connection that I make with spirit and, you know, pass a message to a living loved one gives me a little more confidence that maybe this meat suit dying and me moving on to that realm isn't so damn scary after all.
Well, yeah. Well, but I'm going to have to jump off here. I'm going to call it a night and get ready. I got to do some work on some stuff tonight. I got a couple announcements I got to work on for the Phantom Fest and get them ready. So, but like I said, it's been great talking to you. And like I said, I appreciate you coming on the show. Nothing but respect, bro.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. I got nothing but respect for y'all as well. Thank you so much for having me on, man. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Oh, I had a great time.
Anytime you find yourself needing a guest, brother, don't hesitate. Drop me a dime.
Oh, no problem. I sure will. I'll give you a ring-a-ding-ding.
I'll be
you
here.
give me a ring-a-ding-ding.
I ain't giving you my ding-ding.
Well, I didn't say you ding-ding. I said ring-a-ding-ding.
Oh. I'm sorry.
That's it. Lord mercy, let's don't go there, Lord.
Oh, this went downhill quick again.
He went down the rabbit hole. The hole. The brown hole.
Yeah. Hey, now. God damn it. Listen here, R. Kelly. Don't you be bringing that shit up.
Okay. Well, we'll jump off. Shit, I'll talk to y'all damn night. And then I get fussed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I got to get some sleep, too. I got to imitate a worker tomorrow.
Okay.
But y'all have a blessed night, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey, you too. Like I said, have a great weekend. And anything, give us a yell.
All right, brother. Take care now.
Hey, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's it for us tonight. There again, I want to thank my good friend Dennis Estlock for coming on the show. Like I said, we'll welcome him back anytime. Next Thursday night, March 7th, our special guest will be author Kathleen Werstein. I hope I said that right. So everyone have a great weekend. Be good, be safe. Nothing but love. Okay, Melinda, do your thing.
Good night, everyone.
Ooh-wee. Oh, I need to push this button. Right. No, that's wrong one. This one.
That's it for us tonight. I want to thank everyone that took the time to listen in. I'd like to give a big shout out to the Vibe Radio Network and to Ryan for putting up with us. Also to all the first responders and our men and women in the armed services. Thank you for your service and the sacrifices that you and your families make every day to keep our great nation safe. Tune in next week to another exciting show starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everyone can go to our Facebook page Within the Chaos, and don't forget to like our page to see upcoming guests along with past shows, postings, or you can also go to my website at www.blackdiamondps.org or blogtalkradio.com/Vibe Radio Network. Also, we have a YouTube channel, so go to YouTube, look up Within the Chaos for past shows. Thanks again. Until next week, everyone have a safe weekend and have a good night. And love you all. Be careful out there.
I'm sorry. But I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!
Hardy's bold new Rise and Shine coffee is free with the purchase of any menu item at regular price. It's a brand new coffee, hence this brand new radio ad. Hardy's because it tastes better. Offer valid for a limited time at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Limit 1 per customer per visit. Not valid with any other offer or discount.